Many masters use secondary practices, so to say, to create a positive, so-called, a positive environment in order to uh, continue the sadhana or reach to the state of awakening. With some people, I get disturbed. With other people, I always feel calmness. What is this? So the question is, even if they are secondary practices and they help me in reaching me to that state, should I do those secondary practices in the beginning or not? Or should I bypass these practices? In India, traditional wisdom is not accepted by the younger generation. What will happen if I wake up early in the morning? What will happen if I do the Gayatri mantra? Why should I bow down to elders? Huh? When I know everything, my dad is crazy. I am more intelligent. Even at my young age, I had the same feeling. So it continues in every life. So the main topic is purification of the mind. If the mind is not purified, then whatever meditation we do will not succeed. And that purification of the mind, if it is secondary practices, then it must be done. Because only the purified state of the mind can study, can do sadhana, can reach to that state. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahi. So there is a precondition. What is that precondition in learning? That the teacher and the seeker should should be protected together. That is the meaning of the first sentence. Uh, so, from what kind of a protection we need? Do we need a police protection? Do we need a protection for the wealth? Do we need a protection for the shelter? Answer is no. Now I'm answering your question. We need a protection from the impurities of the mind, so that purified state of the mind can reflect my true nature. Sahana Vavatu. I am driving to your home, and in the middle, car breaks down or there is no gas. I should protect myself first before I drive to your home, so that I can reach your home safely. Second, Sahaviryam Karva Vahe. Our energy and enthusiasm together should be at the level of peak, so that we can walk together. If energy of a teacher is low and energy of a seeker is very high, then there is an imbalance. Then what the teacher is speaking, huh, and the seeker is waiting for the next step, it will not work. That is why this mantra, you see that how those masters have conceived Sahaviryam Karvavahe. In modern education system, whether you are mad or insane or low IQ or a high IQ, the professor gives you the same lesson, gives you the notes, prepare for it, pass the examination, and you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are an IT professional. But in this way, this journey does not work. Sahaviryam karva vahi tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvisha vahi. Together, we should be able to remove ignorance. Our goal is to study myself so that the elements of ignorance should be removed, the delusion should be removed, so that we can reach to that state. And ma vidvisha vahe, vidvisha, no envy, jealousy, hatred, uh, ill feeling of ill will when we go to someone, and feeling of goodness when we have a feeling of goodness. It is the imagination of the mind, and that imagination causes the impurity. So, that duality, envy, anger, agitation should be absent while learning. Let us understand in one way. We make a conscious decision to divorce that mind which causes the problem in us. You have made a conscious decision. But problem remains if the mind is ready to divorce me. Another answer. You are good. He is not good. That is bad. Who says mind? Mind is not ready to divorce. See that? So we need to purify the mind. That purification is required before we reach to that path or before we start the path. At the physical level, my friend, at the physical level, we go to a restaurant. First thing, they put the plates and the bowls, and if the bowl and the plate is not clean, we say, come on, waiter, what the hell you are doing? But for the mind, we say everything is okay. See that for the mind, once we go out to a business meeting, you check yourself couple of times if the cloth is clean and it no crease, everything is set, tie, everything is clean and clear. Then we go to the meeting. What about the mind? So we are understanding when it goes to the intellect will guide the mind. Mind, I divorced you. Did you divorce me? I check it. So that is what the purification mind. So we always take care here. It is considered if you keep your car dirty outside, it is considered what you say in the society unethical, or you can say it doesn't, people don't see you in a right way. So that's why we have hundreds of car cleaner machines in US. Whether the car is used second hand, 10 years old, but it should be clean. You see that? So, what exactly, now we should understand what exactly is the purification of the mind. What is purity? Rather than we go deeper, first we should understand what is this purity. Purity. So, see that if someone gives you a plain water, so the water is pure. And if I ask you a glass of water and you say, oh, he is my teacher, so let me put some lemon and honey into it, and then you give me the water. So it is a mixture. Even though it is good, it is impure. Leave aside, there is a dirt in the water. That is pure. That is impure. So once we have understood it, now we should understand with this example what is the impurity of the purity of the mind and what is the impurity of the mind. I'm answering your question. It's very important. You raised that question and I wanted to take up that. So now see that empty mind is pure mind. Mind receives all its impressions, thoughts, feeling, anxiety, reaction, goodness, badness, likes, dislikes from the world outside. So either you mix this mind with the lemon and honey, or you mix this mind with wine or vodka. That is impure mind. So whatever the contents that comes from the world outside, it makes the mind impure when you have a certain feeling about that person, place, object, thing outside. It is in the mind. Mind is impure now. I love you and I hate you. Both are impurity. But we cherish I love you and we react I hate you. Are you getting it? Same example, water with a lemon or water. Vodka and whiskey is also water, but it is mixture. So when there is a mixture in our thought, in our speech, our action, then it is impure mind. The world consists of people, place, objects, things, time, event. So if the mind is working this with a dispassion, you see that? Now I separate the mind from everything coming from the world. That is viveka. So in that viveka, we understand what is desired and what is not desired. At this time, in this talk, it is desired that I should express these thoughts with reference to the mind, and once the talk is done, I leave it. So it means what? I keep the mind pure and I do not allow what is not desired. Now, so once we have understood the purity and the impurity of the mind, the purity of the mind is when the mind is in its natural state. What is the natural state? What is the function of the mind? Mind is an instrument. Mind is an instrument. It is like a mirror. So is the mind acting like a mirror? Pure mind. Is the mind acting like a camera? It is impure mind. It carries all those impressions all the time. What is the reason behind it? The reason behind is only one, and that is desire. With the desire comes siblings, likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment, delusion, ignorance, pride, jealousy, hatred, all comes from one desire. So when we understand this mind with reference to the purity and impurity, and we have also understood the cause of impurity, then the next step comes why this mind becomes impure. I have understood the cause, I have understood the symptoms, and I know what it means by the impurity of the mind. As long as I'm not aware of myself, the real self, I live in ignorance, and that ignorance causes the mixture. I claim I am the body, I claim I am the breath, I claim I am the mind, and that instantly start causing the impurity in the mind. That is why in the step one, we understood what exactly is the real self and what is the not self. Now, see, I look at the pasta, I like it, like it, like it. Intensity increases in the mind, and then intellect says, dominated, dictated by the mind. What's the problem? I like pasta. There is no problem. Definitely, there is no problem if you like it or you dislike it. Problem is, I'm projecting happiness. There is the biggest problem in the background. Now apply the same thing. I like you. So the liking is behind, and then I'm communicating with you. Second situation, I dislike you and I'm communicating with you. That is the problem. So, Master says, follow the second step of the sadhana panchakam, nitya karma. See, you see? Naimitya karma. So, they have started purifying the mind. They are asking, you are purifying the mind. Sadhana will come later. It is also the sadhana. It is the secondary practice, but still it is sadhana. It is still sadhana. I have to drive the car. I have to put gas into it. I have to check all the four wheels are working fine or not. That is also a sadhana. So the secondary practices cannot be ignored, cannot be rejected. How can the impure mind know what is self and what is real self? What is impure mind? It is full of those impurities. What is that full of impurities? It is the desire. The siblings of desire, likes and dislikes. Do I did I divorce my mind? Yes, I divorced my mind in the intellect. And then the mind, did the mind divorce me? No. Impurity. Two aspects. I divorced the mind. Finished. But the mind does not divorce me easily. And when it does not divorce me easily, in my thought, in my speech, in my action. Now, see the subtle point. When you ask those questions, it helps you to go deeper. In the step 2, we say Nitya Karma. Then, what is that Nitya Karma? I must do all the karma as a duty and responsibility. Now, see the purity of a thought. What is that purity of thought? No fruits of an action. So I'm thinking no ego sense. I should not develop an ego sense in performing these duties. Then thought and speech. So in the speech, I express myself with a humility, with a kindness. I'm doing for the sake of doing, my honey. You are my honey. I have a relationship. I have some duty to do it. I will continue to do it as long as we are together. You are expressing superiority of the speech. See that? And then the purity in action also. So we start doing so called the secondary practice, even though it is a primary practice. We started doing from the step 2. See the beauty of it. When I say when I say that, real self is your true nature and you are living into the false nature. So, why this statement is explained in 3,000 texts? Are they fool? It's very clear. Real self is that's okay and false. No, they are not fool. They are not fools. I have to go deeper and understand to arrive at that state. Do you see that? Either they are fool or they are wise enough that they have explained more than in more than 3,000 texts. But to make us a systematic study to reach to that state, 40 steps in Sankhya Panchakam. But the reference is again the same text. So the way he organized it is so beautiful, is marvelous, is unparalleled. It is like Patanjali Yoga Sutra, 195 sutras. Further, that is compressed into 40 sutras. And so now see the other perspective in that purity and impurity of the mind. Now, at a deeper level, sometimes what happens that I used to clean the restroom in my master's monastery. I remember mm, long back. So they test you, they examine you. So first he inflated my ego. Oh, look at this guy. He's a very senior officer in the government. He introduced me to the entire group. Very good. And once the talk is finished, then he said, your duty is to clean all the restroom, bathroom. It's so I went there and I saw that some bathroom can be easily cleaned and other took time. You have to put the detergent, cleaner, and wait for it. And once the chemical is absorbed there, then you can definitely clean it. Same way, the root cause of impurity are five according to Patanjali. Now I'm going to Patanjali. Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh. Avidya is ignorance, incomplete knowledge, greatest impurity. Asmita, avidya, ignorance gives rise to ego sense. I am the doer and enjoyer. Do you remember how the doer and enjoyer is created? Let me repeat: object, sense organs, likes, dislikes, attachment, detachment. Then comes the delusion, and that delusion creates the doer and the enjoyer. I claim I am the doer and I am the enjoyer. One beautiful woman whom I met when I came to US, and she is wonderful woman. After a year, she was diagnosed with Parkinson disease. She's still alive. So in those days, she used to pay me. Now she doesn't have the money. She has to leave everything. She's living on social security. She was saying that I can't pay you. I said yes, but continue learning. So she has joined the group session. I feel bad. Now see that this is also the impurity of mind. I feel bad because I cannot pay you. And there was another guy I told you last time. I'm paying you. That is also the impurity of mind. So we enjoy both the cases. But then I have to lift this women from negative ego sense to purify the mind. I said, forget about it. You're my friend. I every session. We just had a session before you. And I have to also, if the person is ready, I have to guide him also. That it is not a payment for your peace and happiness. It is a payment that you have created a garbage, and that ego sense is also an impurity of the mind. It comes from asmita, the root cause, at a deeper level. Avidya, asmita, and rag. Third is attachment, likes, dislikes, attachment. So I like you. First, mind says I like you, then I will definitely feel good in your presence. Whenever you are present before me is based on my impurity of liking. If I dislike, I don't feel good in your presence. Now, see, there are two ways of looking at it, and that will make you understand clearly. We say there are five root causes of suffering, and that is also the impurity, avidya, ignorance, and ego sense, and then attachment, detachment, and the fifth one is known as abhinivesh. What is abhinivesh? Literal translation is yearning desire to live without knowing why and how to live. What is the meaning of my life? I don't care. Now see the real meaning. The essence is when this I am is totally settled, absorbed, mixed with the body. That is known as abhinivesh. Then I am the body. And because I am the body, you are present before me, so I like you. I am the body, I don't like you, so your presence causes the problem. So some people say, our masters, some masters says that avidya, ignorance is the root cause. Other masters say this I am is so much mixed, merged with the body, giving the sense that I am the body for all practical purposes, is the main reason. That causes the impurity. That causes the impurity in the mind. So, did we talk up what is purity? Yes. We talked about what is impurity? Yes. So, we have also seen the background of impurity, the root cause of the impurity. So, now what happens? My father, we belong, you know that we belong to Brahmin family. So, Brahmin used to perform all those rituals. And I was young, so I used to throw all those rituals. What a crazy thing that he is doing. But now I realize, after many years, I realize he used to snuff the water through the nostrils, and while throwing the water, he used to chant some mantras. There is a specific mantra every day in the morning before doing anything. Later on, when I studied the text and learned from the master that that is the ritual to purify the mind. Because I was not understanding what the hell he is doing. So you are sneezing the water, snuffing the water, that goes to the demon inside you of all the desires, the cause of impurity. You are throwing the water down and so that it is absorbed by the earth. All the demon of desires are merged. You think in that way. Purity of a thought with an action. Like this, we have hundreds of rituals. Gayatri Mantra, you have heard about Gayatri Mantra. Why? Now see the purity of the mind. Why? Why? So one master guided me and he explained to me. He said that when you sleep, all desires also sleep with you. In deep sleep, you don't remember any desire, you don't work on any desire. When you are not in dream, I'm talking of deep sleep. Then he says, the moment you wake up, all those desires want to take over your mind. So before the desires should take over your mind, you are doing Gayatri Mantra. My dad was snuffing the water. Now see that what we are doing. We are in thought, in speech, in action, we are purifying the mind. Now, restroom is also a ritual. Yes, it's a kind of a habit and a ritual. We should keep our body clean. Impurity should be thrown out. Why shouldn't we perform this ritual? We'll come back. Not these rituals. These rituals have we have to learn it from the many rituals like this. Arg. In India, we offer water to the sun. What is the essence of it? Now understand. Even you start thinking of it. I gave you one. You can just do the practice in your mind every day. and you will see the mind will be purified. But let me give you a little explanation of it. Outwardly, it appears what a crazy ritual. Every day in the morning, you see the sun and take a glass of water, and then you offer the water to the sun. What is this? Now, hidden inside is the secret of purifying the mind. All these impurities of likes, dislikes, attachment, detachment, all these comes because of five elements. Because for five elements, I have the body, I have the mind, I have the intellect. So this mind has vata, pitta, and kapha, and that creates hyperactivity, reaction, anxiety, anger, etc. All the garbage comes from the five elements, right? So I wake up in the morning. Who wakes up the body? Body is the physical part is the earth. With that earth, I merge into the water in a glass or in a bowl. And that water should be merged into the fire that is sun. Then we have the mantra. That fire merges into air. That air merges into akasha. Akasha merges into the mind. Mind merges into the aham, ego, and ego merges into the real self. What is left? Only the real self, nothing is left. What I'm doing, I'm purifying the mind. When nothing is left except the real self, my mind is already pure. You're a seeker, so I'm just picking up some of these. I remember, though, like this, we have hundreds of rituals. So, the second step, if we see that duty and responsibility as thought, speech, and action, so we are talking of the purity of a thought, purity of a speech, purity of an action. They appear very symbolic. In front, just in front, behind the monitor, I have the first picture that I have taken with my master. Luckily, it is available, so it's not important. But every time I'm talking, my mind imagines that I'm in presence of the master. That also purifies the mind, or that keeps the mind pure. That no, I feel the presence of a beautiful woman, and inside I feel the presence of a passion. We feel it. We take it natural. I'm not going detail into it, but it's the same thing. So the master says, you imagine the passion in that woman, isn't it? Yes. So why don't you imagine the same dispassion in the master? Is there any problem? You imagine that and see what happens. You imagine the same master is sitting in your honey and then see what happens to your mind. What is your goal? Your goal is the purity of the mind. So it may appear as a ritual, but it works. It works. Now, these are small and they may appear small, but returning again to abhinivesha. Abhinivesh. Abhinivesh means totally the I am is sitting into the body. It is totally mixed up. The greatest impurity that I am the body. And these symbolic practices in the mind breaks that mixture, breaks that mixture. I am pure consciousness that I have understood in the first step, I am the real self, is mixed up so deeply with the matter that is body. And for my mind, for all the practical purposes, it claims I am the body. I am the body. And the moment ego sense, due to the ignorance, says I am the body, the many children of the body starts helping to cause the impurity of the mind. These children are senses, motor organs, instinct, habit, impulses. Everything belongs to the body. Now, in that case, even if I imagine, take an example, I imagine my master is sitting in front of me. It purifies the mind. And what is passion? That is also imagination. I enjoy eating pasta. That is also an imagination because happiness is not in the pasta. So, this we really miss in understanding in day to day life. You see, the day to day life. You are good, come to me, sit with me, I will hug you, stay away from me, I dislike you. You see that cause? Abhinivesha, Abhinivesha, Abhinivesha. So once we understand, so we should also pick up what are the different methods for purification of the mind. So in the step two, we understand at the very first level that we have to perform karma as whatever the karma we are doing. So, by doing the karma, that is one way to purify the mind. I will take up that topic later. The donation, the charity also helps purifying the mind if it is done without an ego sense, without a liking. So that we will take up later. So that is first one method. Second method is the emotional way, loving way. What is loving way? You like Shiva. So every day in the morning, I love you. Shiva, imagine with eyes closed. And then check if the mind loves other things. Bring it back. Shiva, you are the only one. I love you. They're like this, there are many methods. Third method is through the thoughts. Thought means the imagination. I see the presence and I say to my mind, my master is present before me. Now, see what happens. When I accept my master as a master with imagination that he is enlightened, he is awakened, he is kind, he is loving, he is compassion. Even at the physical level, my master does something wrong. That image of goodness is always there in the mind. I should always keep that image of the master always in my mind. Why? Only that is going to help me. Why I remember this? Day before yesterday. There is a lot of exposure about Yogi Bhajan, who made Kundalini meditation very famous in US and the world. Yogi Bhajan. You can find many books. So there was a guy in New Jersey who met Yogi Bhajan, who learnt under him. He was also a good friend of mine. I knew what Yogi Bhajan teaches, from where he learned. It was against the traditional wisdom. I knew it. I never speak. Why should I speak? So when he was exposed to many scandals, day before yesterday, he called me. I'm disturbed. Then I said, why are you disturbed? You are already a Kundalini yoga teacher. Why you should be disturbed? I said, lift your Kundalini up. Don't allow it to live into the lower centers. So, no, 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 my friend. I heard a lot about Yogi Bhajan, with whom I learned Kundalini. So I got the sense. I realized what is happening in his mind. Now I heard that you and Yogi Bhajan learned together under one master in India. I said yes. I also understand that you know him. Yes. So I also understand all the scandals that appears to be true, and I am frustrated. So I told him the same e- explanation. I said, once you have accepted any master with that imagination in the mind, that imagination will help you realize the ultimate. Don't break your faith and let the physical master outside go to hell. And he started, I could feel that he started crying. I said, keep your mind pure. That is the only reason why we worship and pray and meditate on the master. So that our mind should not cheat us at any moment. And the second answer my master gave to me. What will happen if you will die? And he had a big laugh. And then he says, masters never die. The masters never die. Do I have that tremendous faith in the mind, clarity in the intellect that the masters never die? It will help you on this path. Now, there is a reason why masters never die, that I have answered you before, but I'm repeating it. Repetition will help you. So then he said, who is my master? Do you know? I said, yes, Swami Paramananda Dut. Whose master? And whose master? And who is the ultimate and the last master? The last master is already sitting in you. That is your true nature. How the master can die? Can I connect myself inside? That is another way, through the thought and imagination. It purifies your mind. See the beauty. That is the beauty of the tradition. People just say this master is bad and that master is good. Every master is good. I met more than 100 masters. And they, in fact, helped me to get rid of the crazy students. There is one master in Delhi. Everybody knows that he has many powers. No doubt, he has some powers, and he claims that he has many powers. So many students used to come to me, sir, bless me. You are a great teacher. When you bless me and chant some mantra, my problem will go away. I said, what if I introduce you to a master who do some who uses them some supernatural powers to help you release your problem? Oh, that would be very good. Now I see there is a shift in the faith. I know you, why you are telling me that you are my teacher. So I used to take them to those Tantra masters. They used to chant some mantra, throw the blessings, show some magic, and they used to be happy. You are not on the right journey. That is also the impurity of the mind. So there are 2 points here. One is when the this mind is attracted to these magics, these magicians, they are not masters. Those who demonstrate magics, they are masters. They are magicians. I will do this, and when the existence cannot do anything to me, how can you do it? But it does not mean that those powers are not there. Powers are there. But then my mind becomes dependent on the power. My mind becomes dependent on the pleasure and the pasta the same way my master is dependent on, my mind is dependent on something in other person. And when the mind is already outside, it will remain impure. So I should be 100% clear in my mind. And you'll be surprised, my friend, that even couple of my students in India, when they call me, they remind me that you introduced me to that master. He is helping me. They are still living into the same impurity. What should I say? Live in. Oh, very good. Continue. How he is, say namaste to him. Finished. He was saying that you don't talk to him. I said, no, I will talk to him. I never talk. Why should I talk? On the journey, when I was in India, they are still my friends. So I had couple of those masters who show some miracles and the magic. Here in US, it is not possible, so it's okay. So when I found that this guy is not ready to listen, even bowing down, respecting, loving, pushing me, supporting me, helping me, but still your mind is not ready. Then I said, no, I will go with you with the master and he will help you. Which, nothing to do with it. So the first we say purity through the action, purity through the love or emotion, purity through the thoughts, and purity through the contemplation and reflection. This is all about contemplation and reflection. So we understand the principle, we understand the symbolic significance, and then we follow it and we purify the mind. Then there is another way the Patanjali says, forget about impurity of the mind in the first instant. Just think about yama and niyama in your mind. Yama and niyama basically are the devices and tools to purify the mind. I'm looking at you. My mind says I hate you. That feeling of hate is a violence inside at the emotional level. It may come up at the verbal level if I continue to meet you. So that is why the non-violence is there. We don't kill people. We are not hunters. We don't go to the forest and kill those wild animals. Why Patanjali says no violence? Here, I dislike violence. Become aware. Become aware. You see, that is why those, five yama and niyama is there. Purification. I should remain impure. At the physical level, mixture is there. No, no, no. Let me become pure. Huh? Tapaswadhyaya, Ishwar Prani, Saucham Tapam, Saucha Santosh, Tapaswadhyaya, Ishwar Pranidhanani. They are devices and tools for the purity. Don't We should not go too high. Start thinking non-violence not possible. No, that also helps us. And then comes asan, steadiness in the body also helps us to purify the mind. Purify the mind. Now, how this happens? When I have an intense aspiration inside. I must have a clear aspiration, desire to reach to the real self. Say, take an example. I see you, my mind hates, but my mind says, I say to the mind, why the hell you are doing like this? Your goal is different. Your goal is to find the real self. Your goal is to find the permanent peace and happiness. What you will get by hating or attaching to someone. Now see the sadhana. Apply the sadhana for purification. What is sadhana? I should leave what is not desired. I should attach myself to what is desired. So simple. So I think in the mind, is this hate desired? Just think of it when the hate comes, when the dislike comes. So sadhana means, oh no, why should? So if you do not think if the hate is desired or not desired, that hate will create many other thoughts. Look at his eyes. Look at the way he's sitting. He's trying to show me. From one hate, one thought of a hate, feeling of a hate, you have millions of thoughts. You want to give a break. You want to give. Now, so think one thought. You see the purity of the mind, how we achieve the purity of the mind. So, one way of the purity of the mind, what I have to do with this hate, it is not desired. My goal is to find the real self, and the real self is all pervading. So, it is also present in him and her. Hence, there is no question of hate, and I dropped what is not desired. We mix up these practices. So, second practice is that I see the Shiva in you. Shiva, are you guiding me to purify the mind? But I will continue to see the Shiva in him or her with whom you mind becomes crazy. See, the purity through the emotion. You see that. See that purity through the emotion. Purity through the emotion. So there are hundreds of ways. Some of the ways I'm going to tell you verbally without recording.